Well, there's supposed to be a vigil here at 3. I'm here for that, but I'm just here to try to make sense of what happened last night, although I am in no way surprised that it did.
Right. Just a few days ago, there were targeted attacks against a particular community, the Hindus in India, and now here you have in Washington, D.C., somebody being targeted for being Jewish. Your reaction to it?
My reaction is that these two beautiful young people were not murdered in cold blood because they were Israelis or because they worked at the embassy or because they were diplomats. They were gunned down for the exclusive reason that they are Jews. That was the only reason why they were killed. And this is not dissimilar to the situation in India, this tragic situation there.
Talking about India and Israel as allies, what is your take on that?
My take on it is that they are very strong allies, that I think that India has been a supporter definitely since October 7th, but the ties are strong and I think they're long-standing. I have a son who's an Israeli, so I'm very in touch with Israeli politics. I follow it closely.
Right. And what is the sentiment in Israel right now?
Oh, it's deep mourning. It's deep mourning, and it's anger. It's anger. It's wake up, America. Wake up, American Jews. Wake up. They are coming for us. They have come for us. Israelis know this. They're looking at America in absolute horror. I had a Hebrew lesson this morning. My teacher's in Jerusalem, and that's all we talked about. He can't believe that Jewish people would remain here. That's what he expressed to me this morning.
I was horrified, stunned when I saw the news in the middle of the night. I follow Israeli-Palestinian war closely, and now it has reached our streets. I had lived in Jerusalem in the mid-90s. I have a close friend who lost a son in a suicide bus bombing, so I understand what has happened, and I can't believe it has come here to the U.S., but we live in a different world since October 7th.
I'm actually here from Atlanta, Georgia on vacation, and I came because I woke up this morning to text messages from friends and family who heard what had happened here and were really concerned. I actually work for an organization that builds bridges between the church and the Jewish community, and I'm a Christian, and I often find myself in Jewish spaces fighting anti-Semitism and educating, and so we heard what happened here, and I just wanted to come down and show love and support for the Jewish community. I think it's so important. Anti-Semitism is on the rise, and I think as a Christian I can show love by showing up and just standing in solidarity with my Jewish brothers and sisters and being present and hopefully being a voice for the truth when it seems like so much untruth is present in the world these days.
Talk to us about, your reaction, your first reaction when you heard about it, an anti-Semitism, attack right in the heart of D.C., something that's shocking and unreal.
Sure. So I think that it shouldn't be surprising that something anti-Semitic and terrible happened here in the U.S., but in some ways it is. We see stories of things happening all over the world that are terrible, and you think that it will never happen to you or never happen close to you. And so waking up and seeing the news, seeing the stories, seeing that two young Jewish people were killed so violently and senselessly, I was angry and sad. I think they hit you both in different ways, and it's so senseless that something like that happened here, especially when these two young people were at an event to promote unity between Israel and Palestine, and I believe get more aid for Gaza. And so it just hurts my heart knowing that two young lives are gone so quickly when they were trying to do good in the world.
Was just made aware of the tragedy that happened last night, and my heart just goes out to anyone who's brutally murdered and in the name of whatever it is. But we just wanted to come out and show our support for the families of the victims involved, and just let people know that violence is never the answer, and that we stand beside these people that were brutally murdered and for all the innocent people in Palestine as well as Israel that are the victims of brutality. And we just wanted to show up and be counted and let the world know that there's a lot more love than there is hate.
We're a group of Christians that work with partnerships with Jews in the Middle East and here, and also with Christians and Muslims of goodwill across the region. We lead trips to Israel, UAE, other countries, and we try to promote an understanding of pluralism, religious toleration, and the common values that we share in the West with Israel. And I think it's tragic here too about the terror attacks that have happened in India. I have a lot of friends over there, and I know it's been a long struggle to fight off extremism and to find toleration and peace, particularly since the partition that happened in the 40s. It's been encouraging to see Prime Minister Modi and Netanyahu get closer relationships to understand common threats that they face against radical Islam in particular, threats that are not merely bound to particular countries or borders, but usually have imperialistic aims. We've seen this with Iran as well in their fight to try to get uranium enrichment. And I think the hearts of us here in the West, Christians and Jews as well of goodwill, mourn the loss that has happened of that life and hope that there's a better understanding that can come and more peace.
My name is Hina Akhtar and I'm a Pakistani American. And I'm here just to express my solidarity with my Jewish brothers and sisters, because I totally believe that whatever happened last night, it was against humanity, it was an act of barbarism. That's not what any religion preaches to its followers. And violence and terrorism is not justified at all. And whatever is happening, and especially in nowadays, when we are trying to establish peace amongst different people and nations, this act, it's a heinous attempt to sabotage that peace agreement which we are trying to develop between different nations.
Not too long ago, there was a similar attack that was carried out against 26 Hindus in Kashmir. You being somebody of the Pakistani heritage, how do you react to that?
Well, as I said earlier, I'm against terrorism and violence, regardless of people coming from which religion. I mean, I totally believe whoever kills one person, they're not a true representative of their religion. So regardless, whoever was, he initiated that attack, I'm against that. It was a murder of humanity. So yeah, that's not justified at all. Regardless, it was from Indians, it was from Kashmiris or Pakistanis or any other people, religion, but that's not justified. People are dying. Yeah.
Go ahead.
People are dying, and we need to put a stop to it. All right, be it any part of the world, and that's it.
Yes, people of the Jewish faith and people of the Hindu faith have so much in common. We both thrive in liberal democracies. We both thrive when rights are protected. And we are seeing in institutions and environments in this country, the United States of America, Jews and Hindus being marginalized because people make accusations and scapegoat us for policies on the other side of the world with which they might disagree. And we're seeing Jewish people and Hindu people being categorically all swept together. And it's wrong. All of us have the right to worship freely. All of us have the right to have connections to their countries of origin. All of us have the right to live as Americans in this place, and that's all we're talking about here today.
As a Jew, what are your major concerns, after this heinous attack yesterday, that killed 2 Jewish lives?
Jews are deeply concerned, not about surging anti-Semitism, about skyrocketing anti-Jewish hate. The numbers are extraordinary. We've hit record highs in 5 of the last 6 years versus the first 50 or so. Last year, there was a staggering 9,354 acts of harassment, vandalism, and violence. Here in this country, more than 1,700 took place against Jewish institutions. I've met the Jewish college students changing their names in their Uber app because they're afraid if they sound Jewish, they may get attacked by the driver. I've met the Jewish graduate students afraid to leave their dorms on campuses or their apartments, afraid of being assaulted. I've met the Jewish parents who've cried with me, explaining to me how their children have been serially bullied and targeted in K through 12 schools.
Not too long ago, 26 Hindu lives were taken away in Kashmir. Do you have any reaction to that? You know, terror.
Yes, terror against innocent people in Kashmir is the same as terror against innocent people in Israel or terror against innocent people here in the United States. And what makes those things similar is targeting people because of where they're from or how they pray is cowardly and disgusting. And so I think what we want our leaders to lead with moral clarity and with conviction.